Namaste everybody, Hari Bol. So welcome back to Happy Man. Nice to have you with us once again. If you're joining for the first time, this is a little channel where we're trying to explain some truths about life to help you in your life. It's helped us in our lives and we're trying to pass it on to you. And I always offer my respects, gratitude and thanks to my spiritual master, Siddhasarupananda Paramahamsa. So anything that I may be presenting is simply coming to you through me from him. I have learned all this knowledge in this way. So we're going to talk a little bit about relationships today, and specifically relationships in a marriage situation. Now, I think everyone will probably agree relationships are the most difficult, trying, and challenging parts of life. I mean, everybody has relationships, unavoidably so, and they always will be challenging. They challenge our tolerance, our patience, our kindness, etc. So in a marriage relationship, this even becomes more intense because you're with that partner, that person, all the time. And if it's done according to the Vedic system, and we speak from the Vedic system, then it's a lifetime commitment. So that's why it should be very, very carefully considered before one enters into such a relationship, because it's not cheap. You see, in the Vedic system, there was no divorce. And so therefore, before the couple made that decision to be married, they considered it very, very carefully. And they understood that this is a marriage, a union between a man and a woman to work as a team, not only in our material situations of raising children and, our financial situation, having a home, creating an ideal or as ideal as possible home situation. But also they understood that beyond that, the real focal point had to be a spiritual reason, a spiritual focus, a spiritual foundation. That in the Vedic system is why two people come together. And it's stated in the Vedas that in general, a man needs a woman and a woman needs a man. This is built in. You can find it in humans, but you also see males and females coming together in nature. Procreation of the species, and in the human form of life, we take it more and more into emotional levels, security levels, and find companionship. Everybody that is alone in general, when I say everybody, I know there's exceptions, but in general, they are lonely when they don't have somebody that they really care about, that they're really, fond of, that they love. Because love is the necessity of the soul. And so in the Vedic system, all of that is provided for in a proper Vedic marriage. But the difference is, among other differences, is the spiritual focus, the spiritual foundation, the spiritual reason behind the relationship. And whether we're individually or in union, finding happiness, it must come from a spiritual source. Because we're spirit souls, we're not our material bodies. So we will never be happy without love. Love is a spiritual reality. And that is what nourishes us, the spirit soul. So what passes for love in this material world is not actually true love. It's lust. Lust is a perverted reflection of love. And therefore, in this perverted state, I become the receiver of the enjoyment of the relationship. That is my main purpose, my main goal. I want to enjoy this other person. And on this level of understanding and vision, a relationship based on this principle, it never makes me happy. It never satisfies me because it's lust, it's not love. I'm taking and I only give if I get back. In some cases, we don't give it all. We want to get it all and give nothing. But even if it's a 50-50 exchange, that still is more like business. See? And if I'm not getting my share of the happiness and what I think I should be getting, then the relationship goes apart, gets more distant, gets more difficult. And as a result, we find the ever-presence of anger in relationships. That's why relationships are oftentimes filled with anger. Because it's stated in the Vedas, especially in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna makes it very clear. From lust comes anger. So if I have a lust-based relationship, then there's no question, automatically, anger will also be part of that relationship. And we find that again and again. And the anger can be subtle, it can be very, very overt, it can be very obvious, it can result in violence, and physical violence, mental violence, emotional violence, etc., etc. And that's why many times people divorce. Why be in such a relationship? I'm getting nothing out of it but a hassle. You know, a relationship with anybody is going to come with its challenges, its hassles. You know, there's compromises. You have to give up something. It can't always be your way. We can't always have our will. See? But where there's real love, spiritual love, I see this person, my wife, my husband, and this can also include children as well. I see them as spirit souls, children of God. And I have the responsibility to nourish them spiritually, to assist them in their spiritual journey. And if the other person is seeing me in that way, then there's a mutual relationship of spiritual love, helping each other move forward to the perfection of love, a loving relationship with the Supreme Lord. And that's the real purpose of a marriage. It's a team working together to develop their individual love with God. In that case, tolerance is present, patience is present, care is present, concern for the other person is present. I'm willing to put up with whatever seeming austerities or difficulties or challenges, etc. I accept them as part of my responsibility and my desire to help the one that I love grow spiritually and come to a point of actual happiness from spiritual love. And they view me in the same way. So the harmony there is on a very, very high spiritual level. This is a successful marriage. This will actually make it possible for the marriage to endure all the difficulties, and for the marriage to be an ongoing joy. Because in love, what makes you happy is seeing the one that you love happy. What makes you happy is serving the one that you love. What makes you happy is seeing the one that you love making spiritual progress. That's love. That's automatic. And therefore, in such a marriage, it's a wonderful institution. Marriage in and of itself is a spiritual institution. It is not some cheap material thing. That's why no matter how far away from real spiritual understanding and even, the basis for marriage may be, marriages still take place in most cases in churches, in mosques, in cathedrals, in temples, in synagogues. See, that's traditional. Why? Because marriage traditionally has always been a spiritual institution. So, in the Vedic system, with such knowledge of our true identity, the reason to be married, the goal not only to help each other spiritually, but to please the Supreme Lord with this institution, will actually make for a wonderful relationship. With this knowledge, determination, desire, and focus and purpose, marriage is a wonderful thing. The children that come into such a marriage are very, very greatly benefited. They're not in the middle of a war zone. Now, unfortunately, many children are raised in a war zone. There's so much anger, fighting, harsh words, cruelty, brutality, and it greatly affects the psyche of the child. See, the child is basically emotionally, destroyed from being in the presence. By nature, he loves the mom, he loves the dad. That's just how it's designed by nature. And when he sees the two people that he's loved, that he's attached to, that he's looking to for protection and security, at war with each other, hating each other, fighting, cursing, throwing things, or mentally abusing each other, it destroys his heart. See, it destroys him from the inside. And that's what we have today, a society filled with such damaged individuals. And then they get in a relationship and it just continues on. See, they have no role model, no example to follow. So they just propagate what has always been seen and learned by them from their upbringing. So we have a big social problem, and it all goes back to the ongoing reality. It's really a spiritual problem. It is not a material problem. And therefore, if we get our spiritual lives intact, if we get our spiritual lives connected in harmony, etc., developed, strong, then we can have wives and husbands and children, and it will be for the purpose that it is intended for originally. There will be no unwanted population because the children are wanted, they're loved, they're cared for, they're seen as God's children, given to me to take care of. I'm the custodian given to me by God of this child of God. So therefore, if I'm on this platform that I'm presenting, I take that very seriously, and I'm happy about that. And there's joy in knowing I'm serving God in this way, and I'm pleasing God in this way by taking care of His wonderful child. So that's what we talk about when we talk about a Vedic marriage. Marriage is not some cheap thing for thrills and enjoyment and our vision of, I'm going to be happy because this person's going to make me happy. Nobody can make you happy but God. Other people, they cannot, they don't have that ultimate ability to satisfy us, to please us. But they can be a part of that pleasure. So the whole family unit can be a part of that reception of pleasure from the Lord in serving the Lord and so on. So the easiest way to come to this platform of love for the Lord is regularly hearing and chanting His holy names. This is the secret. So in a family, there can be regular coming together and the chanting of the names of God. See? It's called kirtan, congregational chanting. So the children grow up with this understanding, this activity, this purifying life. The husband and wife, they are being purified, and the purification removes all the lust and the anger and the greed and the envy and the jealousy and replaces it with actual love. So the best thing one can do in a family is chant the holy names. Chant individually on our own, yes, but chant together. Make it a regular part of family life. In the mornings, it may be brief because people got to go to work. They got things to do. Could be very brief. Just come together and quickly chant together for just a few minutes, if nothing more. In the evenings, set aside that time for your spiritual union, coming together, harmonizing, chanting, having the real purpose in life. And therefore, you will have a very, very successful family life. The relationship will be a great source of pleasure and not, as is all too often the case, a great source of pain. So, we're going to chant for just a few minutes the holy names to give you the opportunity to hear this, incorporate it into your life. Think about these things. The mantra we're going to chant, which is a transcendental spiritual sound, is Haribo Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur Haribo. I will chant and you can listen, and if you would like to respond, please do. My friend Misha here is going to be responding, and you can chant with him. Try to just relax and meditate on this transcendental sound. Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribo. 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 Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur Haribo. Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Haribo. That is so easy. That was just a few minutes. So you could do that in your home. Get up in the morning, take a shower, come together, chant. The children love it. They love music. And so you build your relationships on a spiritual platform. They will stand the test of time. You build them on the sand of material desires, lust, they will crumble very quickly. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time. All the best. Namaste, Haribo.